Welcome into the Paul Farrington Show. Paul, joined by Jack Weinberger, Robert Ziggy Ziegler at the University of Virginia, and he's back. Zack Blurquist.
Yeah.
Producer.
Raise a beer in the man's honor. Raise a beer in the man's honor.
Crack a beer for Zack.
Happy Friday, Junior.
Here we go. Yeah. Friday, Junior.
All is well. Cheers.
Cheers. Also, 9,000 subscribers. We hit that yesterday. So we're officially on the final 1,000 to the path to 10,000 subscribers. So
yep,
I'll drink to that.
Raise a glass to that as well.
Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. As we said, we're chasing down 10,000 subscribers before the NFL draft. Do you think we'll get there, Jack?
I mean, I'm not going to say no. Of course, we're going to get there.
I guess that's a pretty positive.
I don't know. Those Packers fans have been lacking lately.
Yeah, I know, right? Ziggy and I were talking today. We're like, we love having all the Packers subscribers, but we got to break into some other fan base sooner or later.
So we'll be talking about some teams that aren't the Packers today. So if you're a Packers fan, you might learn something. If you're not a Packers fan, stick around. We got some stuff for you.
So all our viewers just left.
Well, it'll be a good show today. We're going to talk about teams we're excited for heading into the 2024 season. We're also going to hit a little bit of a mailbag. It's kind of a mailbag, like a half mailbag. And then at the end, we'll have a quick sitcom draft, another draft. And, sitcoms are a very polarizing topic. People are either all in or they seem to be quite against certain shows.
There's such a clear one.
Well, I know what Jack's one's.
I need to pick one.
We all know. If you know Jack at all, you know what his.
I need to pick one.
So, again, great to have Zack back. 9,000 subscribers was huge. And why don't we jump right into it? We're going to start today's show, though, by talking about the guys who were tagged and untagged. This will be real quick, more of an informative segment here, just trying to catch everyone up on what happened over this past week. So the guys who were tagged recently, Josh Allen with the Jaguars, Brian Burns, Kyle Duggar, that was the player we said, or Ziggy said, as his Packers go-to free agent target, potentially, which they can still go after him.
It's because that's a transition tag, not a franchise tag.
Yeah. Zack, you mind throwing Ziggy on this for the love of God over here?
Well, that's important. A lot of people don't even know what a transition tag is.
Oh, sorry, you were just going, I'm going to say all the tags, and then all of a sudden now you're putting Ziggy on. What are you doing here?
People like Ziggy's facial expressions. That's one of our most
that's a notable show. I mean, a lot of people watch the show to see Ziggy's facial reaction.
T. Higgins, franchise tag by the Bengals. Jalen Johnson, the Bears. Justin Matabuke with the Ravens. Michael Pittman with the Colts. L'Jarius Sneed.
Wait. This is incredible. Tell me, put Ziggy. Ziggy says 3 words.
Well,
you're coming after me, and you're coming after me, and then you just go back to yourself.
Go back to
that's
the one
insane.
That's what the producer.
Yeah, hey, whatever you think is fit. Whatever you think is fit.
Ziggy's talking, and he's not on the screen.
Ziggy could be the voice of God for the 3 words that he said. He doesn't have to come up.
All right. Antoine Winfield.
I love you, though, Ziggy.
That's that wraps up the guys who were tagged there.
And some notable exemptions, players who weren't tagged. Zack, you probably noticed Christian Wilkins from Miami. He wasn't tagged. Saquon not getting a tag. Xavier McKinney not getting a tag. So some players people might have expected or thought could get a franchise tag didn't.
Yeah, Christian Wilkins is one to keep an eye on, especially for us Vikings fans we really desperately need a defensive lineman. It would be great to poach him from you guys, Zack. Wilkins is an awesome guy.
He is an organization changer.
You think so?
His attitude is unbelievable.
Like, he didn't get hurt last year, right? He was one of the few guys on that Dolphins defense who didn't.
Yeah, he's never been hurt.
Yeah, no, I mean, he would be great for a team like us who desperately needs someone on the inside. That's a big guy who's a free agent now. Chris Jones, a lot of people are expecting to go back to the Chiefs. Christian Wilkins, arguably, the best defensive tackle left, or who will be on the free agent market. And Saquon, Ziggy, I know you said that with Zack back and forth here. I know you said that you didn't think Saquon should be on the list. NFL.com had everyone who was tagged and the notable players who weren't. But the fact that he's Saquon Barkley is why he's on that list right there.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants are willing to let Saquon walk. That's what this means.
Yeah. And there's a lot of teams, that would love to get Saquon Barkley, maybe not for the price tag it'll cost to get Saquon. There are so many good free agent running backs this offseason between Eckler, Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard. I'm curious to see what he could look like if in the correct offense, because he had such a disappointing year from what he was supposed to be. And Jacobs, right?
Yeah, and this is a really weak year in the draft too for running backs. There's no Bijan Robinson. There's no Jahmyr Gibbs. So that'll help out some of these free agents if they're trying to get something done, make a little money.
Can you ever remember, though, such a loaded class of free agent running backs?
Tony Pollard was a first round fantasy pick, the top 10 pick last year in fantasy, right?
Yeah. Oh, it's crazy.
He's supposed to pop off.
So we'll get to more on.
We also put the franchise tag on Robert Ziegler here at the Paul Farrington show.
Yeah, we did. We franchised Ziggy.
ESPN was calling. They offered me something good, but I can't leave.
Yeah, we'll
Not
clap.
yet.
We'll clap.
Yeah.
But Ziggy was unhappy with. We couldn't come to a long-term deal with him.
But we put him on the franchise tag.
Yeah, I mean, he asked for quarterback money.
Yeah, we can't quite afford that yet. But
like he's, we're up there at the $40 million mark.
And he deserves quarterback money, but we just can't.
He does. He does. Kind of like the Vikings with Justin Jefferson. He's crucial to the show to the point where without him, we would fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, it's like, all right, we got to be careful.
So they're paying that much. Yeah,
we can't even afford an intern.
Yeah, we can't afford an intern. That's true. Yeah, we got Zack.
We did have
salary. Wasn't even here.
We had an intern for a while.
Zack actually, for people don't realize this, Zack has the biggest deal of everyone on the show.
Well, Zack had PTO. A lot of PTO.
And he had the studio. He had the studio at his basement. Zack was getting $55 million a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so
True.
out of the franchise tag, guys, that's just kind of an update for you on what's going on there. We'll have a lot more news next week. Next week is really when things start to get cooking again in the NFL. We're going to see, some free agency news, and stories should be breaking like crazy. So that'll be a lot of fun. Maybe even some instant reactions, depending on who goes where and what decisions are made. But now we'll jump into our first segment here. I forgot to mention this. Russell Wilson. We'll talk about him briefly. So Russell Wilson, we didn't mention too much about him getting cut by the Broncos, but in his time in Denver, 11-19 over 2 seasons. Think about that deal. 5 years, $242.6 million for Russ. I remember when that went down, I was in Tampa, Florida, and we had just started the show the way it is. We were still doing it from my Notre Dame bedroom. Remember when we were on Zoom and Jack was in his unfinished basement with the wood hanging all over the ceiling?
Yes.
Ziggy's setup was still flawless, but the rest of the show just looked absolutely ridiculous. And I'm doing a facial reaction going, Russell Wilson to the Broncos, man, Denver's all in here. We'll see if this pays off. And it
didn't pay off.
It's up there as one of the worst contracts, worst trades in the history of football. They gave up 2 firsts and 2 seconds, then went on and signed that deal. Just blows up in their face. Ziggy, did you see the dead money hit that Denver's taking?
Yeah. So until today, or until Russell Wilson gets cut, the biggest dead money hit in history was Matt Ryan at $40.53 million. Russ is 85. Now they're going to split it over 2 years, and exactly how they do it, they've got a few different options, but he is more than twice as bad as the biggest dead money hit in NFL history.
Yeah, right now, Russell Wilson, depending on how it's broken up, I believe it's probably going to look like 35.4 in 2024, 49.6 in 2025, or at least that's...
Yeah, it depends on how they manage the option bonus that they have to pay him. They can try and pay it now, they can pay it later, but in either case, it's going to be a whole lot of money this year and a whole lot more next year.
Yeah, so overall together, it is the largest dead cap hit ever. But even if you split up those 2 years, he'll wind up having likely the first and fourth highest dead cap hits for an individual season in the history of football. I mean, just absolutely blows up in his face. Yeah, you said Matt Ryan was the biggest. Second before this was Aaron Rodgers at 40.3 in 2023. So you could just see how much of a disaster it was. Think about Denver is so desperate to get rid of Russell Wilson that basically they're willing to incur something this expensive to just get him out of the building.
With no better option, right? It's not like they're about to go out and get a star. It's not like they've got an early draft pick. Like they're just going to take whatever comes because it's better than this.
It's just so disappointing too. I thought, and so did everybody else, when the Broncos got Russ, you have some decent weapons. Like, this is definitely a wild card type, playoff type team, and they were horrendous. Like he was
terrible.
Yeah, it blew my mind, really.
I'm trying to think, who were the big free agent quarterbacks that were moving? So Rodgers moved, Russ moved.
A-Rod.
Who else am I forgetting here? Did any of the big quarterbacks go on the move? I thought there was. Maybe was there another big trade?
I mean, if so, it was all overshadowed by Rodgers.
Maybe I'm thinking about Brady's retirement at the time. But regardless, these giant. Oh, Watson went to Cleveland.
Oh yeah, Watson.
Years ago.
Yeah.
But all of these situations recently where you've had big quarterbacks going into different markets, at least off the top of my mind, I think they've all backfired pretty severely so far. We'll see what happens with the Jets. But for Russ, we talk about landing spots where he could go. And you look back on last season, he played good football at times and also struggled. The Dolphins beat him by 70 points. So I'll go to you first, Ziggy. If you're a team, like what teams first off would even be interested in Russell Wilson?
The tricky thing of Russell Wilson is listening to how he's talking about himself. Because what did he say? He said his goal is to win multiple Super Bowls wherever he goes next.
Oh, okay, Russ.
Well, no, but
welcome to Pittsburgh.
I'm
Russ.
not saying that I think it's likely, but the thought is, first of all, Pittsburgh has already said they're out. They're not interested. Omar Khan shut that down.
Omar Khan's going to Kenny Pickett.
Well, yeah, but the thing is if Russell Wilson really thinks that he should come in and be an undisputed starter on a contender, that's just not happening. The only team that I think there's even a chance of him coming in as that kind of a guy is Atlanta. And it's not clear. He's like their third or fourth option at best. So I don't know. If Russ is willing to be a backup or a bridge quarterback, like that's an option for him. But what team is running out eager to sign Russell Wilson to be their starter? I don't think there are a lot of teams that need quarterbacks, but I don't think a single team in the NFL is interested in that kind of experience.
What about like the Patriots?
I've seen the Patriots be well. Here's the problem with Russ. It's that most of the time in these situations, when you go after a veteran quarterback like Russell Wilson, you're a team that's just a quarterback away from making a big run. And you just need that guy who can come in and push you to the next level. But Russ isn't playing high enough quality football to push any team to the next level. On the other hand, the teams that want to sort of start over or have a bridge quarterback, Russ also isn't the kind of guy who's going to come in and be suitable unless he accepts that role as a bridge quarterback, because he's going to probably want a lot of money, and two, automatically come in there and we talked about a huge media distraction. He's one of the superstar in the NFL. The good news is Russ doesn't need to take much money because the Broncos are paying him $85 million over the next 2 years. But the other problem is that the teams that are available, Russ is a terrible scheme fit. Yeah.
Right. Russell Wilson's strengths are as a playmaker, producing out of pocket. And this year he was terrible throwing over the middle of the field. That's just not what he does. You talk about the Minnesota Vikings. You talk about the Atlanta Falcons. You talk about Arthur Smith with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Those are all teams that want to throw over the middle, especially like those McVay-style Falcons, Vikings offenses. So when you're talking about a guy who had his worst numbers in his career in terms of taking sacks, how long he took to throw the ball, his numbers throwing over the middle were terrible. I just don't see where he could end up. I think the best thing he can hope for is something like being a backup on the Titans. And I don't think that's what he wants to do.
Well, you might just have to see him accept a role change in his career.
What are like the Bears? Like, would they start Caleb right away, or would they start?
Well, but does Russell Wilson want to come in and they say you're going to start 6 games for us and then we're going to bench you?
I saw the Raiders as a possibility.
I saw the Raiders too, but
they have Aiden O'Connell right now. If they don't go and get anyone, I can see Russ. But if you're a Raiders fan, do you want Russell Wilson? They're kind of a weird team, though, where defense actually really stepped up in the second half of last season. They have Devontae Adams. They have Jacoby Myers. Like, the Raiders are a good football team. If Russ is okay, I can see that being a spot. But if I'm a Raider fan, I don't want Russell Wilson. If I'm a fan of any team, I really don't want Russell Wilson.
I don't think I would either.
But it's still, at the end of the Buffalo game last year, he had a big drive. I know they didn't win that. No, they did win that game, right? I'm trying to remember the Buffalo.
No, the Bills won that game.
Field goal.
Bills won by 3.
Yeah, they missed the field goal,
right?
The
Bills won by 3.
And then they got hot. They beat the Vikings with that last second drive. Russell Wilson can still play to a degree. It's just his fit is weird. So
he's shown he could still manage a game and be a game manager. And I'd say he was 70% of what his best football could have been last year.
The alarming numbers are just how many sacks he took. Russell Wilson's a playmaker. He's always been vulnerable to that. But last year, and really the whole time with the Broncos, he's taken an unbelievable number of sacks, and they've mostly been his fault. It's just not clear to me that's going to get any better.
Would you say he's overrated or underrated right now? Because I think there are people who are on both sides of that coin.
Sorry, go ahead, Jack.
I was just going to say, I think a lot of people right now think that he's awful, which is why I'd probably lean underrated, because I don't think he's as bad as most people think he is.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, his numbers last year were concerning if you want a primetime quarterback. Russell Wilson, I think, is perfectly capable of stepping in and being an average starter.
Yeah, I also think he's being a little underrated.
I agree. A lot of people probably think he right now is a horrible starter.
Yeah, just find the right fit. Maybe it could be the Raiders. New England. Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, but this thing, if Russ wants to go to a competitive team, right, like a team that can win Super Bowls, which is what he said, the Raiders don't. So there's no good fit for him.
I could see if Atlanta swings and misses on Kirk.
Bring him to Miami.
I saw something. He was on my list. I saw it as well.
Bring him to Miami. I don't want to sign Tua. I think.
So you want Russ?
I've seen Russ have a clutch factor.
He does have,
and and this year really showed it to me. Tua is good, but he just doesn't have the clutch factor. And I want somebody with,
So Wilson to the Dolphins. Great, Zach. It's been a while. Hey, go ahead. But
I've seen a couple lists with
Zach doesn't like going on camera.
I've seen a couple lists of people saying Russ to Miami, but I don't really see Russ right now. I don't think with any of these teams being anything more than a bridge quarterback.
Yeah.
Like if he goes to a team like New England, who drafts number 3 overall, probably going to draft a quarterback. They don't like.
That's probably what he is at this point.
Right. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, when any team getting Russell Wilson needs to know you're not, and they understand this. It's really Russ who needs to know you're not anticipating the Seahawks superstar Russell Wilson anymore. And he could find a little magic. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
The only place I can see him stepping in and being a starter for a full year is if the Bucks lose Baker Mayfield, Baker signs some big deal elsewhere, and they want to pair some guy up with Mike Evans. That's kind of it.
So we're talking about one of those roles like in Atlanta, like a Tampa, where Russ isn't going to be the primary option, but he could potentially come in if they miss out on the quarterback they're going for. So there are spots. He's got to go somewhere. I'd be shocked if he's not on a roster.
Would it be shocking if he didn't want to go anywhere until the season started to wait to see what quarterback gets hurt and then go?
Not at all. That wouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, I mean that could happen, or even in training camp, someone always goes down. It seems, at least for me, for the start of the season. I just remember Teddy getting hurt and the crazy rush to find someone. I would have been happy to sign a guy like Russell Wilson, as we wound up trading a first for Sam Bradford. It would have been nice to have a quarter, but we'll see. Because of course you want to go in and be familiar with the system and everything. Okay, let's go on to the teams that we are excited to see next season.
Oh.
There's a lot of it,
and there's a couple.
There are a lot of teams that we're excited to see, and why don't we throw it? You want to go first, Jack?
No,
the Rams.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
You just gave it away.
I know, I gave it away.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Let me try it again. All
right, go.
You want to go first, Jack?
Yeah, absolutely. If you don't mind, Ziggy.
No, go ahead. We'll save the best for last.
Yeah, sweet. So I'm game casting the
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah, the NEC tournament here.
We're big Fairleigh Dickinson fans.
I am excited to watch this LA Rams team next season. Matthew Stafford last year showed he can still compete at a very, very high level in the NFL. I thought one of the better quarterbacks in the NFC for most of last season was Matthew Stafford. Mm-hmm. There's not many guys I would have taken over him with the level of play he was playing at throughout the later part of the season, especially. Made the playoffs, went on the road to Detroit, a team who should have been in the Super Bowl, and the Rams lost by a point. They had the ball at the end, a game they could have won.
They had a penalty too, right? They sent them back.
Two penalties. I thought towards the end of the season, the Rams were one of the better teams in all of football. Like they were really coming on. It's not a team that I wanted to play at all if I was anybody. A team that could have beaten anybody in their current state. You have Puka Nacua now in his second year. Cooper Kupp, if he can stay healthy, one of the best receivers in football. A pretty dynamic offense with a great quarterback.
Kyron.
I know that Kyron's back healthy now. I know that you're in a division with the Niners, which is unfortunate, but this is a Rams team who I'm excited to see if they can be a contending team next year.
Yeah, I mean, the Rams hit home runs of their draft picks last year, right? I'm thinking...
They have first round pick this year too. They haven't had a first round pick
but Kobe Turner and Byron Young were both elite players for them. Like they were some of the most impressive rookies in the entire NFL. The Rams only have one real area of weakness going into the season, I think, and that's the secondary. But they've got cap space. If you're paying attention, you've seen tons of good players, good safeties, good cornerbacks are hitting the market. They'll be available at a reasonable price. If the Rams turn around the defense and go from the close to average they were last year to above average, and Matthew Stafford can just keep it together. I mean, Stafford's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFC. You've got some of the best skill position players. There's a lot to like here.
I mean, I've talked about them a lot in our shows recently. They were my dark horse Super Bowl contender. I said Stafford's the best quarterback in the NFC coming into the season. I think it's a great pick, Jack. And remember all the teams that went into Baltimore and just got absolutely buried there. The Rams were the only team really that went in and could have won that game.
And they played a shootout with them.
Yeah, it went to overtime, right?
Yeah,
remember
it
was the punt return touchdown.
34-27 or something like that.
Yeah, the punt return touchdown for Baltimore to win it. I mean, so many teams went in there and just got annihilated. That I mean, who was it? The Dolphins went in there and got crushed, right? The Lions got crushed.
They were inches from beating Detroit in the playoffs.
They probably should have won that game. Really, probably would have made that kick if they didn't have all the penalties at the end. I think that's a great pick, Jack, and I agree. If Stafford stays healthy, they would probably be my pick to win almost any division other than the one
they're currently in,
which is unfortunate for them. Okay,
but I will just say they did stay very healthy last year. There's not a guarantee that happens again. So while they're exciting to watch, it's going to be important they are able to keep Stafford and Cooper Kupp on the field.
Yes,
and Aaron Donald. He hasn't gotten hurt much, but the dude's so old at this point. You never know.
I mean, like Kyron got banged up too, and that's
the number one thing with the Rams is their health, because the talent and the skill position players are there.
Yeah, I love
for the
that
most part.
Okay, the team that I'm looking forward to seeing next year, a team that we covered quite a bit during the season, the Houston Texans. They just signed Dalton Schultz to a 3-year deal. He came back, and what he said is CJ quickly cemented himself as one of the top quarterbacks in the league. That was a big part of me wanting to come back. I wanted to surround myself with guys like that, guys that kind of galvanize a football team. And I think he does an absolutely great job of that. The whole reason I'm excited to see the Texans is to see the second-year jump from CJ Stroud, the second-year jump that DeMeco Ryans can take as a head coach. There's a lot of parts on that defense where if they improve that unit, the offense should take another leap. I was pretty disappointed in the Tank Dell injury to end last season, both for my fantasy team and watching the Houston Texans, because it felt like they were really coming on strong and then had a bunch of injuries that knocked them down a peg. And they probably still lose to the Ravens. It's a really tough place, as we just mentioned, to go in and win. But I thought that was a team that was rolling at the right time, and what a start to essentially their playoff game against the Colts in Week 18. 75-yard touchdown to Nico Collins, who just looked unbelievable. The ragtag group that we called them throughout the year just had guys step up time and time again. And I think with a few more pieces on that defense, maybe get another receiver this offseason to bring in and complement the other guys that we mentioned. They're going to be in the running back market. We'll see if they go after a guy like Derrick Henry or Saquon. I think this Houston team is right on the cusp. Maybe not this year of being a legitimate big-time Super Bowl contender, but especially this can be the setup year to really launch into that elite status in 2025.
Oh no, I think that's a great pick. I mean, how can you not be excited about these guys? I mean, what was their win total last year? 5.5, and they end up winning the NFC South.
Insane.
Stroud's like an MVP candidate, as I called them all season, the team of misfits.
Yeah, that
all seem to gel and play great together, kind of like the Packers in a way.
They were very comparable, Green Bay and Houston, throughout the year.
I'm very curious to see, which is why I'm excited, what CJ Stroud we're going to get. Like, is he going to improve? Is he going to repeat? Is he going to digress? Sophomore slump? I don't know. But if he repeats what he did or can get better, this team can go very, very far. That could be very, very scary.
And as exciting as the offense is, and I agree they are exciting, you also have to be excited by the young defensive talent too. Not a lot of people talked about Derek Stingley last year, but he was in the top 5 in the NFL in passer rating when targeted. Will Anderson got a lot of attention, fairly deserved. He played really, really well. So there's a lot of exciting young players on this defense too. And you always get, as much as I love seeing offenses step forward, being able to see teams develop on both sides of the ball is always good. So, yeah, I mean, as CJ Stroud should take another step forward. I'm optimistic to see Stingley turn into that real lockdown corner he was drafted to be. You saw flashes of that this year. There's just a lot on both sides of the ball to enjoy with this team.
Well, he took a huge step forward, Stingley.
I forgot Stingley was drafted before Sauce Gardner.
Yeah,
I picked Stingley before Sauce.
3, right?
He had as good a year last year as Sauce Gardner.
Oh, Stingley was great.
Yeah, Stingley was very good.
A lot of people were doubting his career.
It's just because he got hurt so much, right? I mean, he had some unfortunate injuries his first year, so people assumed he was bad. No.
And I mean, we'll see what happens with Grenard. Is it Grenard or Greenard? I always flip back and forth with their defensive end. I'm just gonna say Grenard. And they didn't franchise tag him. He's a free agent now. Said he would love to come back. I believe he had 12 and a half sacks last year. A great tandem with Will Anderson. If they let him go, maybe in the draft they try and get another pass rusher for D'Amico Ryans to play with. Ziggy, you said the defensive side of the ball also can't be overlooked. But it often does because you have Stroud throwing for 4,000 yards, 23.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't blame anyone who does this, right? But I mean, the defense was 11th in points allowed last year. It was very good.
They were good. Remember, they had, I don't believe their sack numbers were very good, but they had a very high pressure rate in Houston.
It'll get better next year.
It should be better. And it's a team to definitely keep an eye on. But one thing that will be difficult for them, you look at the strength of schedule right now, and it's hard to talk about strength of schedule in, what are we, in March right now? Because
no free agents, no draft.
Yeah, and even during the season, you have no idea how teams are going to pan out. Remember, we were talking about the Rams 49ers week 1. Everyone's going, 49ers will kill them. Rams suck. 49ers won, but that Rams team was very different from what people expected. The Texans have the AFC East and the NFC North next year. That's what, 6 tough games, maybe. Difficult schedule.
You look at last year too. Like everybody going into that season, if you see the Texans on your schedule, that's an automatic win.
Yeah. You're right. The prime example was the Texans.
I mean, you never really know yet.
Yeah, the Packers are on your schedule second half of the season. Jordan Love will be out of the league, no problem, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's just
AFC East, NFC North. That's tough. And then on top of that, you have the first place teams with Kansas City, Baltimore. You also have Dallas. The Texans will have their chance to prove themselves against the big boys, but that's tough. I mean, that's a really hard schedule. It should be. Step up.
They proved that they can win those games. They went to Cincinnati and beat the Bengals, so they definitely can. But when you have to do so many more of them, and some of them are going to be back to back, you do have to take that next step forward. Yeah. But I don't know. It's for the first time in a few years now, you see the way the players are talking about it. The Texans are a team where players are excited to be. They want to be there. Yep. And that makes such a difference compared to, like, you look at what New England has to do to get people to play for them right now. It's very different.
I mean, look at the way people talked about the Bill O'Brien era there. like when they had Bill O'Brien and during the stretch from Watson to Stroud, like both those time periods. I mean, we're talking about a team that's just tough. I mean, people didn't want to go. People didn't want to go there. I think I'm remembering the Bill O'Brien period, right? I thought there was a lot of hostility, especially.
Well, yeah, but even when they were winning, people were hostile towards Bill O'Brien, right? Remember the DeAndre Hopkins saga?
Yeah, that was, yeah.
But then once they started losing and he got fired, and you had like the Lovie Smith year, and just no one wanted to go.
All right, how about you, Ziggy? Who are you watching?
The team I'm watching, we're going to stick in the AFC South because I really think this is one of the most interesting divisions in football. This is a team that just barely missed the playoffs this year, despite having to start a backup quarterback for almost the whole year. Of course, I'm talking about the Indianapolis Colts. There's a lot to be excited about with this team, right? I mean, Shane Steichen did one of the best coaching jobs in the league last year. He showed that he was the offensive mind behind the Eagles very, very clearly, both by the Eagles collapsing when he left and by him taking Gardner Minshew to a play that really should have worked to make the playoffs.
Forgot about that.
And then, I mean, I
forgot the Colts were, if they won that game at home, they were in.
Oh, the Colts were.
I totally forgot about that. And they dropped a wide open pass on 4th and 1.
Yeah. And that was controversial, and that'll be in their minds. But they're going to forget about it, I think, once Anthony Richardson steps back out on the field. He's about to start throwing again, which is good. And, I know that there were some ups and downs when he first played, but he was injured for a lot of those games, and he still showed those flashes that can take over a game. I really think there's a lot to look forward to with him.
Yeah, but Anthony Richardson was drafted to be that super dynamic type of guy that can do special things that not many people can, and bring a certain level, a certain element, a certain different kind of thing to a Colts offense that Gardner Minshew just cannot. And quite frankly, I was super duper impressed. So yeah, most of the league cannot, let alone Gardner Minshew. But I was super impressed that the Colts were 9-8 with Gardner Minshew last year.
Oh yeah, the job by Steichen was phenomenal.
I mean, now you bring in Anthony Richardson, and if he can be like anything close to why you drafted him, Like, why not hope to make the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, what everyone says about this guy is he works incredibly hard. He's gotten, instead of being thrown to the wolves, he now got some time to sit back, learn, take advantage of all of that. And he showed a lot of those flashes you're talking about, Jack, in those first few games, right? I mean, Paul, you saw all those rushing touchdowns. Some of those deep throws were incredible. Anthony Richardson showed that he potentially has it. It was very different than some of those prospect guys. You never see them put it together. We saw him putting it together in real time, and I think he's going to pick up right where he left off.
Like, he's so physically gifted, and he moves super well for a guy his size and his strength. He has something that not many others do. Like, do you want to tackle that guy in the open field? Absolutely not.
It's gonna.
I'm excited to watch him play.
It's gonna be really fun to watch how he progresses, because people forget, at least for our channel, Richardson. The Packers and Texans were probably are our biggest fan bases. The Colts were right up there when Richardson was healthy. We were talking a lot about Anthony Richardson. I had him on my fantasy team too. I had a close eye on him. Fun to watch. He got off to a hot start and was kind of right up there with Stroud. Part of me is wondering if, to some degree, we're putting more pressure on Richardson to be good because we saw how good Stroud was, and they were kind of going back and forth during those first few weeks while they played, where you have to remember, Richardson played in 4 games. It feels like he played in more.
Yeah.
But in 2 of those games, he got hurt.
Yeah.
So the sample size is still so small. I'm really excited to see him. I said they're a playoff team, potentially, in my opinion. I can't wait. But we just had such a small sample size of Anthony Richardson where the jury is still completely out. I thought
but it did look pretty good.
Oh, it looked great. It looked great. The Rams game, even though they lost that, I just remember a couple of the throws that he made were just, I'm trying to remember which one. Houston, too. I think he just looked unbelievable. Or is that the game he got hurt? That might be the game he got hurt.
That was the game he got hurt. You're thinking of the one before. There was that 60-yard pass that just hit the receiver in both hands.
It was the Rams game was when I was just going, man, this is going to work out. And then he got hurt the following week against the Titans.
There definitely is some pressure too, for sure, because we saw what CJ Stroud did. And AR was picked, 4th in the draft. He had a great career at Florida. A high pick, serious potential. Colts sniffed the playoffs last year. And I feel like a lot of Colts fans are now probably expecting him to come in and give them a CJ Stroud-like season.
Yeah, a boost. The Stroud boost.
And which is not easy. Like, that's not easy.
No, very few players are able to do that.
Yeah. Especially when being 22 years old, that's impressive.
Well, he also came in last year with, I would say, the largest margin for error allowed of all the top picks. Everyone was saying, yeah, he's got all the athletic tools, but just give him a little time because he's raw. I wonder if that timeline, at least amongst the fans,
it's evaporated.
Yeah, at least in the building, I'm sure in Indianapolis, they're going to be lenient, but the fan base is probably a little bit more, and they'll give him time, but there's a little bit more that feeling of, okay, like, we can do this now because Minshew got us here. Surely you can do this.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to see how his return from that shoulder injury. Your shoulder, when you're a quarterback and you injure your shoulder, that's a bad spot to get hurt. So we'll see how he comes back. Again, he is a absolute laser for an arm. And I can't wait to watch him. They just tagged Pittman too. So got his number 1 back. The Taylor, him and Taylor will be fun. I mean, that team is going to be so much fun for all Colts fans to pay attention to and watch throughout the season. High draft pick as well. Shore up that defense, and
it's a good pick, Ziggy. Good pick.
Ooh.
Good pick.
Okay, a little bit of mailbag. We'll do the draft and we'll get out of here. Okay, Ziggy specifically asked for this one to be read, and it's a great comment from Poop Gamer 71.
I wonder who that is.
He says, "I don't know if I made it, but here's my question anyway. It's supposed to be for the mailbag on Tuesday. Who's winning in a debate? Stephen A. Smith or my main man, the Zigmeister, the Ziegler, the one and only Ziggy? Me personally, I think Ziggy embarrasses Stephen A. so badly in the debate that Stephen challenges him to a one-on-one on the field. Ziggy then proceeds to catch a ball over him, stiff arms him, big dog, and takes it in for the score. Thoughts, gentlemen?"
I think a debate, Ziggy versus Stephen A. Stephen A. would just start to shout like random nonsense
Big words,
at him,
yeah.
but Ziggy would bring up these numbers and these stats, and not even Stephen A would find, and Ziggy would find a way to bury him.
Oh, just wait till we get to Aristotle.
And I think he would piss Stephen A off, like he pisses me off sometimes, where you're dead and you can't win the debate, and like he has you in a corner, and there's nothing else you can do. So I think I would take Ziggy probably as an underdog, plus like 120 against Stephen A.
Oh, run circles around him.
I think he would. Like Stephen A would be a favorite, and Ziggy would be.
If you on BC Virginia,
but I do think on the field, I'd give it to Stephen.
People be like, "Who is?"
Stephen A. obliterates me on the field. I think there's no question.
But I think I'd take Ziggy in a debate. I think I would.
Stephen A. I mean, he averaged 3 points on his high school basketball team. That's a guy who can play.
Hey, I'm on the field. Gosh, that would be. Yeah, I'd love to see Ziggy on First Take or Stephen A. on here.
But there wouldn't be many people out there who I would take in a debate over Ziggy. I don't think. That's
I'm being professionally trained to make arguments. That is what you do in a philosophy PhD.
That was one of my favorite moments when we first started the show and Ziggy came on. It's like, Ziggy, you're really good at that. You don't really talk sports very often with me, but you're really good at this. And he goes, Paul, my entire life I've just studied how to argue things, how to debate things, and protect viewpoints. Yeah, enough said. The amazing Gapo 4918 again. I'm sorry. I try the best I can to read these things. Says, do you guys think the 49ers deserve more shit for the Trey Lance draft? They traded 3 first-round picks and got so damn lucky that Purdy was good. Oh, this is something that I've talked, especially with my dad, about actually recently, where he was saying, oh, maybe the Vikings can go all in and try and trade up to 3 and get Daniels or May, whoever winds up falling there. And I don't mind that philosophy at all, but then he backs it up by saying, and he's going to be listening to this, so I guess a little shot here maybe, but he'll then say, the 49ers got away with it. And the 49ers, to me, are a bizarre case. They're a unique situation because they have so many all-pros there already, such a good roster around that they, are more able to afford a mistake like the Trey Lance draft pick. And then, they got super lucky with Purdy because let's pretend Purdy doesn't work out. I guess you still have Jimmy G, which you can ride that until he gets hurt again. But let's say it's last season. Lance sucks. Garoppolo goes down. I guess you can make a move for Darnold or something. You could try and trade for someone, but they got very fortunate with the Purdy pick. But on top of that, to be fair to San Francisco, they do have a great roster that's friendly to quarterbacks. I just think that mistake is no one talks about because of Purdy. Yes,
I mean they thought that they had a quarterback they loved.
They built the Dolphins.
Yeah, they did. A quarterback that was their franchise quarterback, and they went all in, and they missed horribly, and they got bailed out. I don't know what else there is to say.
Yeah, I mean, it was more likely that Brock Purdy would be at the level of like Nick Mullins or CJ Beathard, if that, right?
Yeah.
And it's not, the roster, I get that that's there, but that roster makes a terrible quarterback bad. It doesn't make a terrible quarterback elite, right? We saw how many guys struggle. Like, you think back to those 8 Nick Mullen games or those CJ Beathard games in like 2020. You think back to like the Trey Lance games that we saw. Like, the roster doesn't make a quarterback. So it's actually, I bet, I haven't gone back and looked at this. I would bet that every single like front office that has traded up a bunch of first-round picks for a quarterback and then given up on that quarterback in like a year has been fired. But because they got lucky, now everyone talks about how brilliant they are, right? Nobody mentions this trade or this mistake. And I think that tells you, right? Like, these guys, clearly they're good at evaluating talent. You look at how many good players they've brought in. Sometimes you just miss, and sometimes you just get lucky.
That goes to your philosophy of the more darts you have to throw at the dartboard in the draft.
Within reason, right? I mean, a bunch of 4th-round quarterbacks aren't worth as much as a top quarterback in the draft. But I just mean sometimes even the best evaluators are going to miss. So, no, I don't think they deserve more crap because what they did was they whiffed on Lance, but they didn't just assume that they were going to hit on Lance and thus not worry about any other options. They kept looking for good quarterbacks in the draft, in free agency, and found their guy.
Dave Morin, 2491 says, why is the running back position not getting the respect it deserves? I believe Aaron Jones plays as important as Jordan Love's role in Green Bay in the late season run.
Oh, you came to the wrong podcast, buddy.
Hold on a second.
I'm a running back guy. I mean, you guys know I'm a running back guy. I think the end of that statement.
That's not anywhere on this podcast where we say that.
No, I mean that was a little
what
silly.
Jordan Love versus Aaron Jones.
No. That we are a running back friendly.
I hate
Defended running back like
hate,
crazy.
I hate running backs.
Because I grew up as a Viking fan. I grew up on a running back being your entire offense.
Yeah, where to get you?
Nothing.
It didn't get us anywhere. But again, when we had 1 year with Favre, we played great football.
So you're telling me when you had a quarterback?
Yeah, obviously you need a quarterback.
We had Rashard Mendenhall at running back in the Super Bowl.
I think Jahmyr Gibbs was a very important part of the Lions offense this year. I thought that was a great pick by them.
Is that why you split carries?
You can take him away and they're just as good.
No, see, this is what people miss in this discussion, right? And I think it's what people like Jack sometimes don't pay attention to, is that it's not that quarterbacks are irrelevant or running backs are irrelevant or don't matter. Is that there are so many good running backs that you can get pretty similar production from a lot of guys that are available in free agency. It's not because running backs suck or don't matter. It's because there are so many good ones available. You know, you look like the left tackle, right? Bad left tackles get paid $20 million a year because there's just a shortage of guys who can play the position. Running back is not that way. So yeah, Aaron Jones was really, really important. As important as Love, I don't think so, but he was really important. But there are a lot of good running backs who could give you close to the same level of production. And that's why running backs don't get paid big in free agency.
Well, there are tiers too to the running back.
As long as your O-line's half decent, you're going to be a fine running back.
Well,
like DeMarco Murray was a legend on the Cowboys. Le'Veon Bell was good in the Steelers and sucked in the Jets and the Chiefs.
Yeah, but I also think that there, obviously running backs have different tiers and different skill levels. Aaron Jones is one of the better running backs.
If you just have a good line, you're fine.
Yeah, but if you put Aaron Jones behind that line, the Packers line scrimmage, or AJ Dillon, Aaron Jones is a much better running back than AJ Dillon.
I mean, who was that random Falcons running back averaged 5 yards a carry last year? And then
Algier.
Yeah, I mean,
Algier's good too.
Algier's a good player,
but I think Aaron Jones is better than Algier.
I mean, that's my point. Like, it's Tyler Algier.
No,
wait, you're saying your argument is Tyler Algier sucks. That's not the point. The point is there are a lot of really good running backs, and Algier's one of them.
I think anybody could play running back behind a good offensive line.
Well, I mean, anyone could come in and maybe like an NFL player. First off, which we're specifying, because with Jack, you never know. You could be talking about literally anyone.
No, I think I could. I think if I could find the Cowboys O-line, I'm carving up this.
Here's how we'll end it.
I mean, the Vikings had a really good offensive line. Looked how the running game went when we weren't playing our good running backs.
Brutal. It was brutal. Jordan Love, more important than Aaron Jones. I don't think that's even particularly close. But Jones, when he came back, very, very good and helped boost them another level, because great running backs do improve your chances of winning, even though you can get similar production from a lot of running backs at like the average level. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't agree.
Okay.
Yeah, see, Jack doesn't actually understand the evidence or the arguments. He just sort of says how he feels.
I don't think the running back can boost your chances of winning. Like when we won.
You don't think any running back can? Yeah, sure, man.
I mean, like Rashard Mendenhall was our Super Bowl winning running back.
Here's from Joseph Grip. He says, "Are the Falcons with Kirk better than the Vikings with Kirk?" That's not what he wrote, but I'm assuming that's what he meant by the question.
Falcons with Kirk better than the Vikings? No, I'll take the Vikings with Kirk over the Falcons with Kirk. I think Minnesota's better than Atlanta outside of the quarterback.
I do as well. Atlanta, I like. I like Pitts and Drake London and Bijan. I think it's good.
Atlanta's okay. Minnesota's better.
I think. I also like. I think O'Connell's a great head coach. Jefferson's the best. Ziggy, what's going on here?
So here's the thing: is I agree the Vikings' offense with Kirk is significantly better than the Falcons' offense with Kirk. Though I think that the Falcons' offense could actually get closer than people think. The thing I worry about is Flores' defense is gimmicky. And you saw this near the end of the season, right? Once people figured out you can just like throw dig routes at it over and over again, the defense collapsed. The Falcons' defense was pretty good last year, and I think they could be even better this year. There were a lot of productive players, and you bring in Raheem Morris, who did such a good job with the Rams defense. Atlanta might be a better place for Kirk to go. It might be a better team. It's at least close. I don't think it's far.
A better chance of winning, of getting to the playoffs if Kirk's on that team.
I think the team might just be better. They obviously have a better chance of getting the playoffs, but I think the team might just be better.
Okay. Yeah, I would still go with the Vikings. The division, of course, makes you lean Atlanta, or probably pick Atlanta to get to the playoffs. But yeah, this Vikings team, I like the coaches more. I do like the offense more, but the defense, I trust Flores to. We'll have to see after free agency, but right now I still lean Minnesota. Okay, couple more questions here. One comment from Mercury Road 55 goes, how many more touchdowns would Kirk throw if he had a few spritzes of love potion number 10? Shut up. General question for the NFC North. What's one player for each team you hope that team doesn't draft? Yeah, I haven't dove too far into where the Lions are 29 or something like that in the draft. I haven't looked too much there. I saw Cooper DeJean going to the Packers in a couple mock drafts, and I didn't watch too much. I know he's very good. I didn't watch too much of his tape yet, but he's kind of can be moved all over the field. I can see that working out. I wouldn't be thrilled with that pick for Green Bay. And then obviously I'm going to be furious when the Bears get Caleb Williams. I can't believe that worked out for them.
I think you should love them getting Caleb Williams.
Yeah, I know you do. But you were right on Bryce so far.
I know my quarterbacks.
I just hope that the Packers don't draft another quarterback, because then we all know what's going to happen.
Good point. Great point. Yeah, right. Can you imagine they'll be the first team in probably forever to have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks playing simultaneously? They'll find some way to have 2 guys with 50 touchdowns doing this.
Bo Nix would be a legend.
Bo Nix and Jordan Love just both on the field at the same time, reinventing the NFL. Okay, let's see. What else do we have here? 2 more. What steps need to happen in realm of realistic possibility to solve your miseries in the next year as a Vikings fan? This is from Carson Matsky, 3256. Carson, clearly, Carson, you haven't stepped foot in the miserable shoes of Vikings fans, because there's nothing that you can do to fix this 60-year whatever span of sadness in 1 year. I would say a good start would be identifying our quarterback of the future and figuring out who the hell is going to be throwing the football to Justin Jefferson. Hopefully Justin Jefferson in the upcoming seasons. We need a franchise quarterback. Does anyone have any other solution to this problem?
I'm not a Viking fan. Most people think I am, but I'm not. So I'll let Ziggy, you and Ziggy handle this one.
I'd like to see us bring in some productive defensive players.
Oh yeah, that would be nice too. Yeah, it would be really nice.
Have more than Daniil Hunter on defense.
Yeah, it'd be great to have a defense that didn't fall apart.
Yeah, so all we need to do is identify the quarterback of the future and bring in a fair number of defensive starters, and our misery will be gone. Yeah.
So get the most important position on the field, and then build your defense.
Yeah, easy.
We could be competitive next year, but we could also be so far away from being good. Again, it's very concerning. Stuckman has the pronunciation.
Stuckman.
Yeah, there we go.
Stuckman.
He said. He says, thanks for answering my question in the mailbag video, guys. Here's an extra question for fun. Very off topic. Well, Stuckman.
It's not off topic.
We specialize in off topic. That's why I'm here. I'm here for the off topic stuff.
What sports do you guys pay attention to aside from football and college football? I get the vibe that one of you is a secret hockey fan or something, and it's always fun to know more about great content creators. Oh, that's very nice. Thank you. Nice. Thank you for that nice comment. Outside of football, well, I'll let Jack go first because he's probably got the biggest outside of football fandoms.
Yeah, outside of football, I love college basketball. I watch that from when it
March Madness, guys.
When it tips off in November to the very end in April. And I'm an MLB fan as well. I like watching MLB in the summer, cracking open a beer, enjoying some baseball.
Jack bets on the Pirates every single season to either win the division or the World Series. And last year, when the Pirates were red hot, he's going, "Come on, everyone, hop on the bandwagon, Paul." And I just looked at him and I was like, Jack, we all know how this is going to go.
They're going to be good this year.
Fireworks night, though.
I'm on them plus 20K to win the World Series.
Of course.
They're going to be good this year. But yeah, I say college basketball and then the MLB.
Ziggy?
I'm almost embarrassed to say this because I know I'm going to get lit up in the comments for it, but it's true.
Oh yeah.
I watch so much cycling. It is a better sport than American football. I'll say that much. More tactically interesting, more exciting athletes, more interesting team dynamics. Like all of that's there. But cycling is an incredible sport, and everyone should be watching it. Otherwise, lacrosse. I do watch some lacrosse. I talk about it with our friend Will Coots once in a while. But really, it's cycling, and I watch some League of Legends.
Nice.
We watch a lot of sports around here.
I also like college basketball, although I haven't watched a lot this year, but we're huge March Madness guys. We're going to probably have Ben Stevens on again. We did a show.
Oh yeah. We're excited. We're excited for that.
I produce an NBA show called Hoops Tonight. So I watch NBA during the season a lot and really enjoy the playoffs. Hockey, we don't. So you mentioned hockey.
You're not hockey guys.
I like the Devils. Well, I'll get on the Devils
Actually,
bandwagon. Zach likes the Rangers.
We're Panthers guys.
Yeah, when the Panthers are in the playoffs, my little cousin's a huge Panthers fan. Last year's run was fun, and we'll bandwagon the Devils. So a little bit of everything. I like the Yankees, but I would say the two basketballs, college and NBA, are probably my second biggest. I'm trying to think. Is there another thing that I really
Golf.
I like golf, but not particularly. I feel like I'm forgetting something.
I'd say you're NFL, college sports, and
Basketball.
NBA.
Yeah,
basketball and football.
And then I'll dive into the playoffs for hockey and
Soccer
baseball.
every 4 years when the World
Every
Cup
4
happens.
years. Yeah. And maybe I feel like there's something I'm forgetting about myself.
I think I'm the
Who knows?
only person in the entire country with not much interest in the World Cup every 4 years.
Oh, you know what I'm a big fan of? And it's only when the Olympics is on, and it's only the Winter Olympics. Curling. I love me some curling.
I was gonna ask you. So it's curl. Well, you like hockey too. Zach.
Curling's a great
I do.
sport.
You like the Knicks.
Yeah, big NBA fan.
Is there anything else that Zach Blomqvist likes?
No, I mean,
Didn't you guys watch UFC? I watch a fair amount of UFC.
I do a lot of. I do jujitsu.
I like McGregor
karate.
back when boxing is good. Is there something else I'm forgetting? Yeah, a basketball and football for me. Okay, that does it for the mailbag. It's a good question. It's fun answering those sorts of questions. All right, we'll wrap up here with the sitcom draft for the next 5 minutes. Yeah.
Sweet.
So the sitcom draft, we thought about this before, but decided not to do it. And now we've come back around. Zach, can you come up with 3 numbers in your head?
3-1-2.
All right, so it's going to go Ziggy, Jack, Paul.
Oh, I'm
No.
3 every single time.
Yeah, what, you start?
No, you're one.
No, you just every single time I'm assigned the number 3. Like this is like 3 or 4 times in a row that I've been number 3.
Well, hey.
No, you're one, right?
No, well, and then in my head, I just come up with a random 3, 2, 1, and I guess I keep putting Ziggy as 3.
Oh, Ziggy, please don't take my pick.
So we're drafting sitcoms. What counts as a sitcom?
This was the question we asked before we even do the draft.
You know what? Well, you could draft, and then we'll say whether or not we allow it as a sitcom. So Ziggy, with the first pick of the sitcom draft,
Does The Simpsons count as a sitcom?
Zach, you're the judge.
would-
I guess you could count it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess.
Easy. Walk in. Walked in.
Are
The
the
Simpsons.
Simpsons?
Look it up.
Are Simpsons a sitcom? I think they do count.
I think they do count too.
I would count it as a sitcom. It's especially
they say
the earlier
America's long-
seasons, very much a sitcom.
Longest running American sitcom. Okay.
Okay, cool. We call. Okay, give me The
Yes.
Simpsons.
Yes. I get the show that I watch every day. My all-time favorite at number 2, Friends.
I didn't realize
Best-
people younger than 40
best-
watch that show.
Best show of all time, Ziggy. Best show of all time.
Friends is one of those that people either love or they it's okay.
Nobody hates Friends.
I know people who go,
I've never watched.
It's uninteresting.
This is the
Let's
best
see.
show ever. I don't know how it wasn't number 1.
this is great for me. I have basically every single option I could possibly want at the top of my list here. I'm gonna go with The Office, The American Office. It's probably the funniest sitcom that I've ever seen. And then my personal favorite is Seinfeld. So I'm gonna go Seinfeld and The Office.
All right, back around. I'll be taking a show that I've been watching a lot recently. It's grown on me. The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I used to watch that a lot more when I was younger, during their like seasons 1 through 5.
I love the Big Bang
You're
Theory.
exactly. Oh, I forgot.
You love The Big Bang Theory?
I love it.
I mean,
What's wrong with
Friends
you?
of Big Bang Theory, baby. That's a sitcom draft right there.
Okay, well this is unbelievable what this fell to me.
French.
So right here, easiest pick. I'm taking Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Okay, good. I haven't watched Curb, but I know I'd love it. The episode's
And then on the turn, I'm taking Arrested Development.
another one I haven't seen,
haven't seen
but I
that
know
yet.
a lot of people also love.
No, these are so like I get that you guys probably haven't seen these shows. These shows are like actually funny. You should watch them.
Shut up, man.
To round out my draft, I'm taking Family Guy.
Family Guy, nice.
You know, I've never seen an episode of Family Guy. I've seen like a million clips from Family Guy. Like there are Family Guy quotes that live in my head, but I've never actually seen an episode.
Family Guy is hilarious.
Is like South Park a sitcom?
Oh yeah, it's a sitcom.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man,
There's so many sitcoms. Like South Park is a sitcom.
is it? I always feel like
Yeah.
I think sitcom is just like slice of life comedy.
Like South Park is, Family Guy is.
what is sitcom? What's the definition of sitcom?
Well, it's a situational comedy.
I
Paul.
can't believe we're doing this draft and we're literally saying, "Oh, what's he?"
Well, a sitcom can be animated.
Like a sitcom is just it's a genre of comedy. You have characters who like carry over. It follows sort of their everyday life.
Surely you're reading a definition right now, right?
Well, I'm thinking about like what makes a sitcom, right? You've got like the same people. It's not like a sketch show, right? And then it follows like everyday life. Like they're not out doing something crazy. It's sort of like grounded.
Okay, so let's see here then. If I have
like South Park absolutely counts.
Yeah, so I love How I Met Your Mother. I think that's so good. Horrendous ending. Watch the alternate ending if you're watching that show. Yeah, I have to take South Park. I have to take South Park if that's on the table. Cartman is one of the best characters. Yeah. Oh my.
The fans know I won this. So I'm not
okay, so let's
no. Friends, South Park, and
Big Bang
Theory. I mean, Friends, Family Guy, and Big Bang Theory.
Okay, so Ziggy has The Simpsons. This is pretty good. Yeah, this is. I'm excited to see where we go here. Ziggy has The Simpsons. He has Curb Your Enthusiasm and Arrested Development. Jack has Friends. You have what's the second one?
Family Guy.
Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory and Family Guy. And I have The Office, Seinfeld, and South Park. Oh, this is easy, Zach.
Yeah, this is easy.
Yeah, it's easy.
So I've never seen any of Ziggy's basically.
Oh, so sorry.
So Ziggy's out.
So sorry.
I mean,
that's fine. The fans got me in the comments.
I blow out Paul. I blow out Paul.
Oh, I think I squad wipe you.
No, I blow you out.
So
Zach knows.
So the fans probably love Friends and Family Guy. And I love Big Bang Theory, but I never watched Friends, and I've never watched.
I'm liking where this is going.
You haven't seen Family Guy? Oh my God.
Now with Paul, never watched Seinfeld.
Wait, what do you watch? Like you're very well versed. It seems and tell like you're always watching things, but you never actually watch it.
If you haven't seen Paul's number one pick and you love the Big Bang,
my number one pick was The Office.
Yeah. I never watched The Office.
Seinfeld round two.
So you haven't seen Paul's top two picks.
All right, so the guy judging the sitcom draft, who hasn't seen The Office, who hasn't seen Seinfeld, who hasn't seen Family Guy, who hasn't seen Friends, who hasn't seen South Park, who hasn't seen Curb Your Enthusiasm.
But he loves The Big Bang Theory, so that's an obvious.
The only show that he's watched.
That's an obvious winner, right?
So, and I'm gonna be very public with this one, and I'm gonna vote like if I was the public. So I have to give it to Jack.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Horrible. Yes. Horrible.
I mean, getting Friends at number 2 was a steal. That's the best sitcom of all time.
Friends is not interesting.
Friends shouldn't even be drafted.
That's the best show ever.
Friends probably shouldn't even be drafted.
There's no way you actually think it's the best show ever.
Maybe
Jack, I forget you don't read books. Maybe you do think it's the
You're
best
gonna
sitcom
get
ever.
murdered in the comments for saying Friends should be drafted. Friends is the best sitcom in the world. It's on TBS every day for 10 hours. I think The Office isn't.
The Office is.
No, it's not. I turn on TBS every day today to see Friends from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
It's on. Oh
I don't see The Office.
The Office is on every single day at the same exact time.
You ever watch
MASH?
MASH is pretty good. I enjoy MASH.
The Office is on TV.
Wait, Zach, have you seen MASH?
No, it's not.
Yeah, I've seen MASH.
It goes Friends.
I figured I couldn't pick it because you've never seen
Friends
it.
Again.
It's crazy. All right.
MASH.
Well, let's stop talking about Friends. This is out of control.
The Office is definitely on TV.
You know
that it's on TV right now.
You know you messed up at number 1.
Whatever, man.
I'm gonna turn on the TV right now. I'm gonna show you that The Office is literally going to be on the television right now. Let's hopefully this.
Friends is on from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. on TV.
Hold on, this is the benefit.
The hours everyone's at work and not watching
Turn on
TV.
TBS tomorrow morning.
This is the benefit now of having this is gonna ruin the lighting on the show.
Oh no, the show looks so horrible.
Hold on a second. I'm proving a point here.
Oh, then at Nick at Night.
It looks like the heat death of the universe is approaching the show.
You know, it's on from 8 to midnight, Nick at Night. Friends.
This is the benefit of having the TV now in our studio.
Friends is on for 13 hours out of the day.
All right, let's see. We're YouTube TV loaded up. Show me The Office.
Oh, why don't you just press the search button?
I'm just trying to find it.
Go to Nick at Night, see what's on.
Family Guy's on. Family Guy's on. I'm not seeing The Office.
That's it. It's not on.
Oh, regardless. The
Friends
Office
is on 15 hours a day on 2 separate channels.
Oh, yeah, Seinfeld. Modern Family.
That's a bum pick, The Office.
All right. Regardless.
I don't even see that. What's that? Ziggy's number 1 show? The Simpsons?
You shut Ziggy up. I turned off everything. Okay, we'll close the show with that. Can you hear us, Ziggy?
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
Okay.
We turned off the screen. Okay, a chaotic end to the show, but thanks again for everyone who listened. We'll see you next week. What a ridiculous end to the show.
This is such crap.
I get pissed people bash friends.
We'll see you next week. Thanks for listening.